Good morning, Adelaide. My name is Con and I am the Conversationalist. And yes, my drink of choice is my latte in these salubrious studios in downtown Clarence Gardens, where the mercury tipped the massive highs of about 1.5 at 7 a.m. I am very excited. This lovely lady that joins me this morning, we go back many, many, many years, and why she still talks to me defies logic, but that's another story. My guest is indeed Emma Thiessen from 1000 Chairs, and for more than 20 years, Emma has been working with the South Australian interior design and architectural community, as well as hospitality venue owners, directly providing commercial furniture solutions, and over that time has undoubtedly built one of the most well-known, trusted and respected personal and business brands. Emma's extremely passionate about promoting and supporting local Australian furniture designers and manufacturers, and indeed her passion for furniture and interior spaces has led to representation of Australian bespoke manufacturers. And just some of the little projects that Emma's done along the way: National Wine Centre, the Adelaide Botanic High School, the Guardsman at Sky City Casino, 2KW, and just opened after a 2-year reno the Strathmore Hotel. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, that doesn't even scratch the surface. Good morning, Emma. How are you?
Good morning, Connor.
Geez, I haven't heard that for about 15.
There's going to be so many old adages that come out in this little chat.
I have absolutely no doubt, and the viewers
they'll all be subconscious.
And they'll all be subconscious, and indeed the viewers may get lost. And but never mind. This is
it's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun, and ladies and gentlemen, don't tune out just yet, because let me tell you, Emma is as funny as she is a very, very astute businesswoman, and you will get some real gems from her during this conversation. Emma, let's start 20 years ago or thereabouts, when you and I first met. You were a young early 20-year-old working for Redelman Fabrics, and there's no doubt one of the things that stood out was your passion and your excitement for what you did. Tell us, was that where your passion for, I guess, furniture and interior design originated from, or are there beginnings prior to Redelman's?
Definitely, we grew up on a country farm in the Murray Mallee, Lameroo, and my mum, she was a housewife. She was a farmer's wife, but she also was passionate about. We lived in a beautiful old homestead that was, I think, built in the late 1800s, early 1900s. So every year there was a new crack. So mum basically would patch, wallpaper, redecorate, French polish furniture, like in between, shearing, cooking, birthing, helping sheep give birth, raising 3 little trollops. She managed to keep an absolutely immaculate, beautiful home. And I'm pretty sure that's where my eye to design came from. She was self-taught pretty much. Her mother was the local seamstress, and I've still got stories of close family friends saying, well, your grandmother made my wedding dress. And, so mum was, I think, lucky enough to have a mother that probably showed her really crafty sort of things and taught her a lot. Yeah, I think being on the land, you learn to, number one, keep yourself occupied.
Yeah.
Because there's not much to do outside of running a farm, and because you live so far from a community, you tend to just keep yourself busy, and that's probably where it began.
And having met your mum, I can understand where you got that from. I guess it's fair to say one thing you didn't get, or not unless you haven't told me, I don't know that you were involved in too many birthing of sheep or the like. I can't see you doing that, Emma, but
I'm sure
I
I
stand
watched
to
a
agree.
few and just
Yeah, you
went,
watched a few.
yeah, that's not my cup of tea.
No, no, I didn't think so. Em, you've certainly come a long way, and we spoke before I started recording our chat, and I'd actually forgotten that you got involved in real estate for a very, very short time. But I just want to go back to the beginnings of 1000 Chairs, and I remember it was, you had a little showroom, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was on Grenfell Street, Grenfell or
Yeah.
Flinders, that's right, which was you couldn't swing a cat in it, and it was by appointment only, and certainly as your business developed, I remember watching the the massive van that you drove plastered with 1000 chairs and
My own deliveries.
brand, yeah, and it was just it was a joy to watch. Um, there's definitely been a lot of growth and development, not only personal, but in your business. Has everything always been quite planned and quite strategic in what you've done? Or have there been times where you've kind of been dragged along, kicking and screaming, so to speak?
I had a clear idea of what, I mean, I remember seeing, because I bought the business, if you recall, from
Yes, I do.
Jonathan Stone. So
I do.
I remember driving past his showroom, which, he had those beautiful windows on the corner of Halifax Street, and I just, every time I drove past, I went, I want to sell furniture like that. I love the Tonnet Bentwood range of furniture, and I'd drive past and just admire how beautiful every time he changed the window. So everything has kind of happened by chance, and I would say through relationship. I think my life, when I reflect on it, has been a series of really beautiful relationships that have defined who I am at that time in my life, but have also then helped me move into another time or space in my life, and my business is exactly that as well. For example, when we stopped working with each other at Casual Living, Holly Woods came to me and said, I had a brand new baby, as you know. She was 10 weeks old. Actually, I think she was less than that when we opened the commercial, the new big development.
Yeah.
And she said, oh, well, Steve Means is taking over the old Now Furniture.
Oh, Now Furniture, that's right, yeah.
And, he's never stuck his toe in the commercial side of things. And, that relationship was born out of my relationship with you, my relationship also with Polly. And then, that gave me an opportunity to work a couple of days a week. I had a brand new baby, but we built this beautiful little side part of, what was, we all know business is hard. Business is hard in Adelaide. I tell this story all the time. There's a reason why Janine Ellis opened the first Boost Juice in Marion Shopping Centre. Adelaide is one of the hardest markets to crack. If you can make a business work here, you can make it work anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world, absolutely.
And but what that shows you is that it's about relationship and it's about bloody hard work. You have to be authentic and have integrity in every business dealing that you have in this state, because everyone knows everyone, and not that it shouldn't be like that, but the people that don't understand that I think that's a part of where a business would go sour. Because every job that you do, whether it's small or big, who you're dealing with, it has to have that same level of integrity.
Absolutely. And as you said, there's no question. I've seen it written so many times. Adelaide, if you can make it in Adelaide, you can pretty well make it anywhere in the world. It It is indeed one of the toughest markets. And yeah, the fact that, as you said, Janine Ellis opening the first Boost Juice at Marion, I mean, there's talking about, you know, fire and brimstone from day one.
Mm.
Emma, it's very, very well publicised and indeed promoted through your business, your passion with dealing and supporting local manufacturers, designers, and the like. Certainly in an industry where, certainly my upbringing and where I came from through the commercial furniture industry, that was purely price driven, and there was nothing but price. It was all about the price. Did you, again, was it a conscious decision and something that was, I guess, your ethos, let's call it, to support local manufacturers, or how did that come about? That decision, that for your business to go, right, okay, this is what I want to do and this is why I need to do it.
Yeah. So definitely, you know, remember early on in the casual living days, when a lot of what we did was, like in the commercial division, it was all locally manufactured. There was probably a handful of chairs and stools, for example, that we procured from overseas, you know, when it was a price point driven project. But a lot of the products that we were selling into these projects were South Australian made. If you recall, Charmwood, you know, they made beautiful chairs. We dealt with Annika, Matthews back then.
Wow.
All of these big, massive, you know, they'd been around for like 2 or 3 generations of furniture makers. And so what probably did get fire in my belly, being, you know, a country girl and from the land, and understanding, you know, the hardships that are faced. When you see those businesses go under as a result of the Australian consumer driving low-end replica Chinese product that was suffocating the market, and seeing these beautiful family businesses collapse, like, this is all they knew. This is what these families had done for generations. It was actually heartbreaking. And so that probably did, as much as the brands that I represent are from all around the world, when I did take the business over from Johnstone, it was probably proportionate to a 90% imported, 10% Australian made. And definitely, without a doubt, now it would be 50-50 in my business. And, you know, we need those imported products, but the product that I'm importing is always the authentic product from, you know, the manufacturer. It's been designed and manufactured, and we still get product from China. You know, China is an excellent manufacturer, and a lot of these bigger European companies are basing themselves in China, running the factories out of China. You know, it's not replica product. It's, you know, designed and made by that company. So, but yeah, going back to the question, definitely that was a conscious decision to build the side of my business that was more about representing young local design and manufacture teams, and I would scout them out. You know, I would often go and meet these young, like, designers literally in workshops, you know, on the tools. I was just like, this is Australia. This is what we should be promoting. You know, this is what this country needs to remember, is that we are so clever and capable. Yeah.
It's interesting you say that. You made the comment about consumer driven, and it's something that I was going to bring up later, and I'm just going to park that for the minute. But you're absolutely right. You know, there's a lot of, I won't say complaining, but certainly voices and noise about all the manufacturing, you know, going overseas and whatever. But ultimately, the consumers need to understand that they're responsible because they drive behaviour. So it's all well and good to, you know, squeal that Holden have disappeared, but you weren't buying Holden because you wanted to buy a Kia, which was cheaper.
Yeah.
And herein lies the ultimate issue. But we'll talk about that a little bit later on. COVID, which I don't like to talk about a lot, but when I do speak to people such as yourself, I always like to ask the question from a different perspective in terms of how it impacted your business and what you did to handle it. So obviously when COVID hit and, you know, everything had to close down and restaurants and hotels, you would have had a certain amount of work that was in progress at that time. How did that impact you, and what were the outcomes? How was that handled?
It was, I mean, everyone was in the same boat. No one knew. So there was a lot of unknown and fear around it, because how long is it going to go for? You know, first and foremost, I almost preempted it, and I contacted my landlord, who again I've known for probably like 15 years. He actually used to buy that. So they ran out of this building, Eureka Antiques, here in Versationalist, and he would often buy some Tonnet chairs and place them around a table that he'd refurbished or something. So I came to the space basically through relationship. Sure. He was fixing or polishing a chair for me, and so I kind of just sent them an email and I said, listen, I just don't know what's going to happen. I'm feeling quite overwhelmed at the moment because, you know, rent is obviously, and outgoings is a big part of the day-to-day running of this business. And I had about probably to the tune of about 300,000 in the quote pipeline, which basically went all commercial projects, all South Australian based, from hospitality through to like the travel sector, corporate spaces, mining, you know, companies. And that just went, we don't even know if this is on hold. It's just not probably going to happen. It might happen in a year's time.
But you just don't know.
No. So, and that 300,000, I mean, that's what you're gauging. That's where I am for the next, you know, 3 to 6 months. And then, you know, whatever comes in retail. So, and they were so fantastic. They literally called me straight back as soon as that email hit, and they said, whatever we can do, Emma, to keep you in business, to support you in moving through this phase, we'll do. Let's just work together. And I know that so many other small businesses have not had that support from landlords, which is absolutely ridiculous considering, you know, I mean, I saw both shops on either side of me shut, which freaked me out because I came back after 4 weeks of being closed and just went, oh my God,
crap.
What is this a sign of what's to come?
Yeah.
Thankfully, you know, almost because I think in South Australia, we are in this kind of bubble, almost like when we went through the GFC. It took a couple of years for us to see the repercussions of that. But because I think we're so like local minded and we keep things, I mean, our businesses are run very tightly in this state, I think. And again, coming back to the relationship thing, if I didn't have that relationship with my landlord, I don't know what position I'd be in right now. But that would have been a situation where I would have then had to go, okay, I can't pay the rent. Does that mean I shut my business? Does that mean I go online? You know, again, business, you have to be fluid and flexible. So I'm just on a Zoom meeting. Yeah.
Fantastic. So yeah, look, it's interesting that you say that about your landlord, because I've personally firsthand some people who are in business who have had, not only have they had zero support from their landlord, but the landlord has sought this opportunity to actually be even more difficult, which has caused, some people to engage in the services of lawyers, to renegotiate positions and whatever. And it's just like, at the end of the day, we're all in this together, and it's heartwarming, the fact that you got that support. But ultimately, it goes back to what I say to people: it's about communication. We need to be proactive in having these conversations, whether it's, your creditors, your landlords, your prospective clients, delays, courses, whatever. We need to be open and honest, and we need to have a dialogue going. I want to go back to what we're talking about, regards consumer-driven behaviour and whatever, and I just want to talk about Matt Blatt for a moment. Now, Matt Blatt, for those who may or may not know, watching, started off as an online seller of replica product, and they had a fairly significant impact in the market, and it was always something that, in my period in the commercial furniture space, it was always something that was challenging. And you would have specifiers send you images and go, well, that's where it's from, with this absolutely stupid price. And we knew it was an import, we knew it was a copy, and we knew it was an inferior product. But the consumer was driving that behavior. Now, I just want your thoughts on this. Now, Matt Blatt went from an online presence to a shopfront presence as well, to then being bought out by Kogan, who are purely an online seller. And Kogan have made the decision to close all the Matt Blatt stores. So what are your comments, thoughts around all that?
I've never bought Matt Blatt furniture, but I have a lot of customers who have, and a lot of customers who, once they bought it once, would never buy it again. It's sometimes those situations, they have to be learned. And
yeah, they do.
I've seen commercial, same thing, the schedules come through, and there's a product that will probably start falling apart in 2 to 3 weeks in a commercial setting. And you just look at it and go, how is this happening? Because unfortunately, you can, as much as you try and educate some people, the only way they can be educated is to be bitten and learn that way. And there's a reason why Matt Blatt, scurried to sell his business, because consumers are learning that. There's definitely been a shift from what we saw starting to happen, 10 or 15 years ago?
Yeah, probably.
When that was starting to, the whole replica thing started to build. And, I have people come in going, the replica furniture is actually only about $10 cheaper than the authentic product. It's absolutely ridiculous that, sometimes it wasn't price driven. Sometimes it was just people, I don't know, getting excited about a new way of buying, I guess, because Matt Blatt was so online and like that, instant purchase. Yeah. I don't know. I'm glad that they're all closed, because it's toxic. It's toxic to our industry. It's toxic to Australia, to have just boggins of low-end bad product end up in landfill in our country, because that's where it.
Yeah, that's a really good point. In fact, I'm writing that down, landfill.
Yeah.
Emma, so obviously a lot of your discussions and business is run through architectural practices, through their interior designers and the like. Are you seeing, as over the years, and I have written here like significant changes, but I want to talk about that as a separate issue, but just specifically with the interior designers and the architectural practices, have you seen more of an acceptance that they need to buy not necessarily local but authentic product, and that are they having that conversation with their customer, the end user? Is that progressing, or
Oh,
is
absolutely. Yeah.
okay.
I mean, all of the firms that I work with are 100% definitely where they can support local, they will. That's almost the start point, and then it's working back from that. So, okay, we need tables. Like, number one, tables are a big component. They're also expensive to freight. And, you know, they can get damaged easily. So there's a lot of reasons why you would try and have your big timber pieces made locally. And, you know, sometimes, no, you can't make a timber chair in Australia for under $1,000, you know. So, of course, we're going to have to look at other imported options, you know, which is where the Tonnet range comes in a lot into the hospitality game, because Michael Tonnet developed this product as a flat pack. You know, it was light, it was flat pack, and basically it's cost effective, but it's really, really strong. You know, you can see these products being used in commercial spaces for 20 to 30 years and barely need a screw tightened, you know. So, so yeah, definitely, probably in the last 10 years, I've seen, because everyone got excited about cheap product. Like, you know, we were all in the same game. You know, it's like, wow, what? A $49 chair? And some of that product, we know, those solid aluminium, like, you know, I mean,
look, there was some good product.
But if you come from, you know, if you start at the right place, you know, how can we work with a local company? How much of this project is locally sourced and manufactured? And, you know, down the line, we might need to bring in some other product that's imported. But yeah, definitely everything's become a sustainable conversation. You know, how much is the environment being impacted by getting this product into a venue? Yeah, so everyone's very mindful now.
More aware.
And yes, that does translate to having to educate your client. But at the end of the day, the client's grateful, because in 10 years' time, they've still got an absolutely functioning, beautiful space.
And they're not inconvenienced. Yeah. I just very, as we come to the close here, with COVID again, I just want to go back there. There's obviously a lot of noise about supporting local manufacturers, local industries, buy Australian. There's a push, I think it's within Foodland or IGA, who have now got Australian only aisles, and the push for Coles and Woolies to do that as well. But ultimately, it's consumer driven, as we've said before. So when Mrs. Jones goes to the supermarket and she can buy a can of corn that is locally produced and grown and it's $1, and she can buy one that's imported from Thailand and it's 70 cents, what decision is she going to make? So ultimately, this massive noise, this upheaval about, you know, bringing everything local and building Australian industries again, do you see this sustaining itself, or do you see that it's a bit like once the pain has subsided, that consumer behavior will go back to what it was.
No, I think what we're seeing in the world right now is going to be change. That's going to be, you know, it's in momentum now.
Mm.
And I don't know how you buy, but I definitely, you know, I mean, I didn't even know that. I mean, I try and buy the Barossa hams or, you know, the local meats
Yeah.
or whatever. And then I saw something about those packaged hams, that the ham is like 90% imported, or like the content. Most people wouldn't even know that.
No.
Like, you know, you're thinking, this is an Australian company. How am I eating imported ham? You know, and yeah, local ham's expensive. Like, because number one, it's ham. Like, we know what it's made out of.
Yeah.
But I think what we are seeing will stay, and I think that people are eating more mindfully. They are buying more mindfully. You know, the products that they're buying that will have longevity. They're not buying, you know, fantastic furniture packages, which, you know, I mean, remember the days when Peter Walkham would go overseas and ask to see the frame of some of these, and they were literally cardboard. You know, there's product coming in that it clearly is only meant to be dumped in 12 to 24 months because of the way it's made.
It's certainly not. It's certainly not. It's not designed or fit for purpose. Let's say.
No,
It's
and it's not
you look
designed
at it,
to
and
last because they want
not.
the consumer to keep buying.
And the justification and the justification back then was it's furniture is fashion, so therefore, you know, you want to change it over, but that doesn't really sit with me. Look,
No.
Last thing before we go, obviously you've been in the industry for you know, over 20 years now, and you know, we've spoken about some of the things that you've witnessed and some of the changes. What do you see like in the future, whether it's the next 5 or 10 years? You know, pull out Emma's crystal ball, and what significant change or changes do you see coming within the industry, or indeed in business in general?
Don't have a crystal ball.
Lied to me.
The world is changing at a faster rate than we've ever seen. People are becoming more woke, you know, on every level of how we live life now. You know, the last 6 months, we've seen bushfires ravage this country. We've seen COVID hit. We've seen, you know, what's going on in America, which, you know, at the end of the day, all of these massive movements that are basically about just us as a human race going, really, what do we want? What is the world that we want to live in? Because it's up to us to depict that. No, we don't. We're sick of buying things for the sake of buying them. It doesn't make you feel good. You know, I want to talk. I want to sell something that I can say to my client, somebody made this. You know, this is a beautiful piece of furniture that you're going to have and love for every time you walk past it. You'll love it. It's not something that you'll actually feel a bit sick about. You know, why did I buy that? So many people say that to me. They're like, I don't even know why I bought that. But, you know, I'm now going to buy something that I love. And there's a change in the way we're just being more mindful. And we're getting back to basics, I guess. That's what I see happening.
Yeah, and look, there's no doubt that we'll call it human awareness, for want of a better term, about what's going on, and, you know, asking more questions rather than just accepting. And I guess I just want to go back to a point that you made with regard to the Barossa ham. Unfortunately, whether it's the government or whoever it is, needs to take some responsibility in terms of being much stricter of the, we'll call it the content that, they can use Australian made label on it, because being Australian made, we used to say Australian made. Yeah, every component was imported from overseas, but we put it together here, so it's Australian made. And ultimately, it's up to whether it be the governments or consumer groups or to take responsibility around that. And
that's the only way that change will come.
Absolutely.
So,
but the sad thing is, Emma, gets back to the almighty dollar.
It does get back to the dollar, but
sadly,
it also gets back to, that's why we're seeing, it gets back to the children now, our children just go, climate change is really important. Why have we just been worried about mining and raping the earth? The change will come through. I mean, my daughter's 13 and my stepson, they're both 13 years old. And we went to the march on the weekend. We also went to the climate change march. And I said to them as we were walking in there, you will look back at this time of your life. You've been involved in 2 marches to stand up for something that you believe in. I can't remember a time where I even had to consider something like that as a child. Our children are going to lead the change and drive it and keep everyone accountable, I think.
Yes, accountability is definitely something. Emma, I could talk to you for hours and hours, and certainly there are many other topics we could discuss.
Next time it'll be a vino and a scotch.
Oh, I was actually thinking maybe there's a segment down the track, another offshoot of the Conversationalist, on the couch with the Conversationalist. So it could be
that'll be the nighttime version.
The nighttime version, yeah, indeed. And the vino and the scotch will be coming out. Although you will be pleased to know that I don't drink anywhere near as much as I used to.
Who does? We're old now.
Well, I don't like to use that term, old, Emma, but thank you for reminding me. Emma, before you embarrass me any further, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you this morning. I watch what you've done, and I'm just so proud, and you're just an amazing woman, and it's certainly been a privilege having watched your journey, and even a remote little part being, I guess, having influenced you, albeit badly at times. My name is Con.
I certainly learned how to sharpen the pencil.
Yes, that old pencil. Thank you, Emma. Ladies and gentlemen, and Emma, thank you very, very much as we bring episode number 28 to a close. My name is Con. I am the Conversationalist. Have a wonderful day. And Emma, thank you very, very much for your time.
Thank you, darling.